What is up, Hero Stock Nation? We are coming to you again with another episode from the Roundtable where heroes talk. You're going to notice something a little different today. Me and Tom are doing that little, switcheroo. He is allowing me to sit in the host seat to talk to our guest today. And you've met him before. Very briefly, we had an episode that talked about the National Veterans Creative Arts Competition, and he was one of our guests. Today, we're going to be getting a further dive into Tommy and what he does, what inspires him, what really, kind of keeps him motivated. But first, let me give you just a little bit of a bio on Tommy, okay? Thomas Walk is a medically retired Army veteran. He is a six-time national award-winning poet and spoken word artist. His outstanding vocal work in mental health and advocacy earned him a Telly Award and an Emmy nomination. He currently runs a one-of-a-kind peer support workshop at his local VA. The workshop was launched as a concept first in November of 2024 and then became a permanent bi-weekly workshop January 2025. There are currently plans to extend and expand with the VA alongside of plans to launch both a for-profit and nonprofit extension of mental health through art. Please help me welcome Thomas Walk. Tommy, welcome to the show again, brother.
Hey, bro, it's great to be here, man. It's always crazy to hear that kind of stuff read. Like, it's sometimes I forget, I know you struggle with your memory too, like sometimes I forget and then it's all just thrown at me in a package and I'm like, oh, that's awesome,
Yeah, holy smokes, that sounds really cool.
man.
I gotta tell you, when we first jumped on here, we are getting everything kind of set, and kind of in the green room a little bit. I saw you were all bundled up. How cold is it where you are right now?
I don't even know, man. I just don't like the cold. It's only like 30. Yeah, it's like in the 40s. It's nothing compared to you, dude.
Well, we had 72 today, brother.
What?
72. Yeah,
In
the weather's a little
Nebraska?
weird. Weather's a little weird in Nebraska. Um,
Boy.
it's gonna be around this for I would say the next few days, and then it's gonna drop, and then I'll be bundled up too.
Yeah, man. I
You're
have
gonna have to,
my awesome little hat with the flaps and stuff on it, buddy.
yeah, you're
Here's
gonna have to grow yourself a little face jacket.
I had to actually shave yesterday, want to look professional for my workshop.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Tommy, let's just jump right into it, bud. It's good to see you. I always enjoy talking to you. What's been going on very recently? Like, kind of fill us in. What's happened from when we spoke about the National Veterans Creative Arts Festival up to now?
Well, a really big thing that's happened. So I was accepted into a program here in Michigan, called the Michigan's Veterans Entrepreneurial Program. And so I'm currently in I want to say it's 14 weeks total. I'm in a program that's teaching me how to build a business plan from the ground up and expand my way of thinking and teaching me aspects that I wasn't paying attention to. And ultimately it ends up on December 15th. I'll be given a 3-minute pitch followed by 2 minutes of questions by the judging panel to award potential startup money to get mental health through art moving forward a little bit better.
Oh, that's awesome. So when does this start?
I'm in it. I've
In
been
it right now.
yeah, I've been in it for what I'd say about I think we just finished up week 6.
Okay.
Next Monday night will be week 7. It's from 6 to 9 p.m. Every Monday night.
That's
And it's
awesome,
been an
brother.
awesome learning experience, man. Like blew my mind, broadened my horizons. Ultimately I was like, I want to just save the world, right? But I really needed to break that down. And this has really, really helped me do that, helped me focus, just kind of see what I really can do with this and those things that I can't, how can I overcome that?
Yeah. So
You know?
you'd say that this has kind of helped like, get a little more energy towards what we talked about in your bio. And I know we'll go into kind of each one of those topics when it comes to like the ideas of expanding and moving to like a for-profit and a non-profit.
Right.
It helps really push that stuff through, mental mental health, therapy through the creative arts.
Right.
Um, but let's back up real quick. We told them we're going to give you a deep dive into you, so we're going to go a little deeper, and we're going to go back to you in the army. All right,
Oh
tell
boy.
us why did you join the army, and what did you do?
Oh, that's great. All right. So, I joined the Army because I had gotten myself into enough trouble to not really have much left. At the time, I was literally sleeping in the back of my car. It was wintertime in Jersey back then, which gets cold. And, like I just was looking into the future of what was I in the eyes of my son. My son was pretty new then, my first boy. And I was really looking at, how do I portray being somebody that he can look up to? And it ain't this. So I got drunk and I went to the recruiter and I signed up, man. And then it changed my whole life.
Yeah. So what did you do while you were in the army?
So the first half of my career, I was a combat engineer running heavy equipment. So basically digging holes for tanks and dudes all over the place. It was really fun, man, because I really enjoyed the work. Um, I'm a technical thinker, so all the digging and all that stuff, it can actually be more precise than most people think. It's not just digging a hole. So, anyways, and then I hurt my back really bad, had surgery, and I reclassed over to medical maintenance. So I was actually on the medical side of the army the second half of my career.
Man. So how long did you serve?
I was in for 10 years active duty before I
Okay.
finally medically retired. I retired due to injuries revolved around my back. At the time, they were still telling me that there was no way I could have PTSD. So I didn't get everything from the start, but they took care of me a little bit to get me going. And then I followed up and finished up and got what I was supposed to be getting.
So I mean, I guess we could really say that, for, many who may be listening or even, the one or two that kind of hear about this episode and see it a little bit later on, that it is a common thing where soldiers they get out of the military and they keep fighting, for benefits to get those ratings, to really represent themselves completely in hope that someone's listening.
Right.
Um,
Well, and that's the
so
thing, and remember, sometimes it seems like forever, and it can feel that way. For me, in my deployment was 06, 07, and I was struggling mid deployment because we have talked about what I went through, and I was struggling mid deployment. Now, when I came home, I had a high ranking Navy officer, can't remember, but anyways, as a psychiatrist, and he told me straight up, you cannot have PTSD because you were not blown up and nobody shot you. So you need to go on and get out of my office and hoo hoo. And so,
mm,
that really devolved into me really thinking like, okay, so if there's nothing wrong, then what's wrong? Like I really lost control of my ability to process what was going on. I left the service in 2010, and I struggled until 2000, I want to say 18, 19, even almost 20, I think, 2020 before I got my 100%.
wow.
Yeah, yeah,
I know there's been a few veterans that I have talked to that they say when they got out, they didn't feel like they had deserved benefits from the VA, and I think that the kind of interaction that you're talking about really kind of helps shape the stigma that, well, if you didn't come back blown up, missing a limb, or have a bullet hole somewhere,
right.
then you're fine. You're still fully mission capable, and just go be the weapon that we want you to be.
And see, it's
And
a hard thing to process because you're not wrong. So I leave thinking, okay, so if nothing's wrong, then what's the deal? And clearly, if I don't have PTSD, there's definitely guys worse off than me. So what right do I have to even? I mean, it was years before I started that process because of my own stubbornness. Well, Matt might need it more than me. Matt might need it. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. And
yeah.
that was just you do that to yourself so much, you're convinced that that's the reality of your situation, and it's not.
Now, on the other side of that coin, would you say that you feel like persevering over the challenges that you've faced over these last few years, um, that in a way is helping you reshape, helping you kind of cancel out that stigma where you're able to talk to veterans or you're able to talk to people and say, no, no, you are right. You do deserve these things. It's there for you, and kind of help just break that stigma for them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I always let them know that they're worth everything that they don't think they're entitled to. But my work is very much more focused on the message that at a certain point you got to do a little bit of inside work. You've really got to like take a look at what's going on. You've really got to open up and communicate. My message is a little bit of a different angle. But yes, I
Yeah.
always tell those guys if they ask me, I do my best to guide them in the right direction. Like, bro, you're so much more. You're worth so much more than you realize, and
Yeah.
and we devalue ourselves so commonly.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Um,
I know you probably fit in that same boat where, I mean, I strongly believe that nobody can say anything about me that I haven't already said about myself.
you,
Like if you want to look at the number one catalyst, all the negative things that I've ever heard, a lot of that stuff comes from myself.
yeah,
So yeah, that inside work, that willingness, that drive to, if there's gonna be change, I have to be the catalyst that brings in that change that
right,
allows, like you've said before, your possibilities are infinite, right?
absolutely.
So you become that change.
And that motto that you love so much, man, that
I
came
do love
from
it. I do love it.
and it comes from such a real place. You and I have talked in depth. I really was trying to commit suicide. I was driving drunk. I was drinking until I couldn't walk and then driving drunk with the expectation to not make it home. I
Hmm.
wanted my I wanted my problem to seem like an accident so I didn't hurt as many people as badly, right? So
Yeah.
all that, and that's a hard thing to get through, but our possibilities are infinite comes from look at where I'm at now, Matt.
Yeah.
And the reality is had I succeeded, I would not be here. I tried,
Yeah.
you know, and now I've got my daughter who's awesome, the
She's
olive is
adorable too, man.
running around here
Adorable.
terrorizing my house, dog. Ain't nobody around here slept right in months, But look, that comes with a smile on my face. That even that in and of itself, man. There was a time I couldn't find that. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and it's hard to say, but the truth is, no matter how dark it is, people that are listening, man, no matter how dark it is, no matter how hard it is, you are so much stronger than you really realize that you are. You got to hold on. You got
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I 100%, man, that, you know, if there's still a fight, well then stay in the fight.
hell
You
yeah.
know.
Yep.
Um let's do this real quick. I want to talk, so we're talking about your military service and your experiences. Uh what is one well, I won't limit it to one. What are some of your fondest memories of serving in the military?
Man, I'll tell you, I I have a hard time with that one because of my memory issues. It's funny because it comes in flashes sometimes, right? Like I'll see a big ass piece of equipment go by and I'll remember that time that we like sank a bulldozer in the mud. Right? Or when we were in basic, we watched a guy straight up bury a truck in the mud because he kept just trying to save it and just kept making it worse. And the thing is, I can't remember the names, but I remember the faces, and
Yeah.
I remember the camaraderie, and I remember the laughter. I think probably at the time of my life, my highlight of my career was when I got stationed at Shepherd Air Force Base. Because what Army guy don't want to
Oh,
be?
down there in Texas, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really dope time in my career. Like so much different, so much different. I really just felt like everything on the Air Force Base was so much better than ours. Man,
Yeah.
I felt like I was in the rich neighborhood when I was there.
Yeah. Like you suddenly just stumbled into a gated community. You're like, what in the world?
Yeah, and they didn't know I was there, and I was just reaping the rewards. It's
Yeah,
great, dude.
man, that's too funny. Now imagine, those guys who buried those pieces of equipment. What did the interaction look like when you had to tell like your first sergeant, like, hey, we're gonna need some time to recover that thing.
Dude, I'll tell you, like those things were always funny because there was obviously an air of irritation, but we were in training, dude. They
Yeah.
knew damn right well some idiot was going to bury the truck in that field. They put him out there to bury that truck because here's what happened. You know how that works, Matt. They turned right around and all the recovery shit was right around the corner. Like they knew what they were doing, dude.
They
So then
brought
they
it.
did
Yeah.
they did a whole demo on recovery operations, right? And it's like, man, you set that little dude up for failure.
It makes me wonder if like your first sergeants and your sergeant first class, your platoon sergeants and whatnot, if they kind of tap each other on the shoulder, like just watch them real quick, just watch them, you know?
Well, fun fact, I was lucky enough for a while. I did get to turn around and I was one of the instructors in the course I went through. Yes. Yes, we do.
Nice. Yes, we do. We're taking bets. Okay, yeah, I bet it's that one.
Absolutely, bro. And it's crazy some of those instructors how dead on they are. They read those soldiers so well. They're like, "Nope, that's the one that's going to do this. That's the one that's going to do that." And watch, go ask that guy to get some grid squares. Guarantees he goes.
Yeah.
Bet,
Go.
you know?
There's the one that's gonna ask for blinker fluid, you know? Crazy, crazy, man. I remember so many. I mean, I remember, basic training because I have a brain injury, so there's some things that I just don't remember.
Right?
But there's those key things that happen in basic training where you're like, I'm never gonna forget that. Uh, and of course
Dude, like
we,
0 day. I will never remember. Look, 0 day. I'm going to never forget this chain of events. When I first got to the thing, before 0 day happened, they're checking you in, they're giving you 1,000 shots, jacking you up, right? There was this. I didn't know he was a drill instructor at the time. I really was unprepared. He was dirty eyeing me, man, and I was giving him the stink eye the whole time. Like I was really like starting like a
yeah,
communication
like yeah,
process.
challenge accepted. Yeah,
Can
let's
you?
go.
As it turns out, I find out he didn't even belong to the unit I got assigned to, but on 0 day, he was there.
Oh
Oh my
man.
God, he smoked. I did more push ups than Paulie Shore that day, dude. Like, you ever seen In the Army Now?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I did so many push ups in basic, dude. I did so many push ups.
So have because we're talking about basic, do you have any memories of like being smoked that you want to share? For those who don't know what being smoked is,
Dude,
it's a trial period. Let's just say that.
I'll tell you. So I was at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so when were you there? Summer or winter?
I was there in the summer, and I came back to Fort Leonard Wood for BFT, where they call battle focus training in the winter
Yep.
time.
Yep.
So it was two extremes. It was like standing on the surface of the sun
Yes, it was.
and then
Being in the
buried
Arctic.
in the Arctic ice.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
insane.
And so it was crazy because Missouri was one of those places where like it just rained during blue skies. You remember that too?
Oh yeah.
Like no clouds that anybody could find, but there's just rain. Um, so I remember in the rain one time in the summer, so that humidity just keeps building. And we were out there running up and down this hill, top to bottom. So you had to run, and it was an incline, bro. I mean, it
Was
wasn't like,
agony, agony
yeah,
and misery.
yeah, bro. Like you
Yeah.
were kind of like mountain climbing to get up
Yeah.
the hill. And
One
I
inch at a
remember,
time.
yeah, and we were, everybody at first, they always set you up. They're like, everybody, whoever's the first. So you're like competing with each other that first couple times. And then you
Yeah.
realize in reality, this isn't a competition. You're
Yeah.
all in hell together and it's
Yeah.
about to get worse.
Nobody wins.
And everybody stops competing. And now you're just trying to drag bodies up the hill, dude.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. And, I think no matter what I ever can or cannot remember, I will always remember like the camaraderie, like the vibration. Like even
Absolutely.
when I was mad at the dude next to me, we figured that it out because what choice did you have?
You were the only people you had.
Like, and so at the end of the day, it's not like they were going to go, oh, he hurt my feelings. You're welcome. You can have this new assignment. That
No,
didn't
no.
happen, dude.
Yeah.
Like, so, that I will never forget. And I think that's part of what made it so hard leaving the military. I was really damaged. I was ready to go because I was hoping maybe that would be the fix, right? But once I was gone, it was like there I was all by myself. Like,
Now,
where is everybody? Where's the schedule? Where's dinner? Like, what the
yeah.
F? You know?
Yeah. So what would you say were some of the biggest challenges when you got out of the military? And just kind of an example, I mean, a sense of identity, you know,
Well,
things like that.
for me, like I always grew up, I liked I liked Dungeons and Dragons. I liked fantasy stuff. I always have had a hero complex. I like to help people,
Yeah.
you know? And so like, see, and here we go, because I just forgot what we were talking about. See, now you get a demonstration. So remind
Yeah.
me what we were talking about.
Okay. So talking about the challenges that you experienced when you got
Yes,
out of the
that's
military,
what it was.
the things that were and now no longer are,
So I felt so much pride in my uniform, filling that hero complex. See, that's where we were. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt so much pride in that uniform because that's how I felt. I mean, like, look at it. We're how many? Like 1% of the population at a certain point. We've been up to what, 3 or 4? I don't know, but it's a small percentage of the
Yeah.
population stands in our shoes. At that time in my life, that was such a point of pride. Like I was proud of that uniform. And when I left the service, I wasn't proud of anything. I didn't have anything. That had been my whole life for 10 years, man.
Yeah.
Like when you're in the military, you're pretty much tied down. And so like I didn't have an identity. I had nothing. The uniform, I wasn't that wasn't a daily thing. You can't just go walk around in your uniform after you retire. It doesn't work that way. Right? I'm sure people do. um, you know, but look, I went from being a soldier full time to not knowing what I was going to do. I
Yeah.
didn't properly prepare school wise. I didn't set myself up for anything but failure. And
Yeah.
having an illness coupled with all the stress of that transition, I just lost my footing, man. I really lost my footing. I
Yeah.
tried really hard to focus on family and home for a long time, but I just couldn't get rid of what was growing.
Yeah. I know in the previous episode that you were on when we talked about the Veterans Creative Arts Competition, there was something that you had mentioned, and I kind of wanted to talk a little more about that. It's, I mean, having these thoughts that we have, that intrusive thought or, that voice in our head that takes up real estate that shouldn't,
Right,
um, and then hearing from somebody, and then they may have the best of intentions at heart, but, hearing someone, say something simple like, just suck it up, man, and how offensive that is,
absolutely.
right? Can you
But so,
elaborate a
Matt,
little bit on
I'm
that?
here. Let's do that. Let's debate. Is it though, Matt?
Is it offensive?
Is it offensive? Let's be real, because here's the deal. We both know what we've been through. The hardest thing to accept is that most of this struggle is an inside job.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so I would argue that suck it up is a pretty straight on, you know, summary.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like what's offensive about that is when we are in crisis thinking, we don't understand any of that.
Yeah,
What I just said.
the intentions of the person who is delivering the message
Yep.
and what they want to do for you or what they want to help you with, you lack the ability to comprehend it in a way that makes it conducive to your
Right.
health, you
Right.
know?
Because
So I
sometimes
mean,
in those moments you can't see an hour from now. What am I supposed to suck up? There's
yeah,
nothing left. Right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's you want to keep pouring into things that you believe, and still saving something for yourself,
Right.
you
I
know?
believe if we learn how to adjust our focus, like I just said, I understand that sometimes that does offend me. It really does. But also, there's a part of me now that combats from the other side too. Okay, fine. I want to argue. I want to fight. I want to be.
Yeah.
Hold up, time out. Because we both know that there's nothing to be angry about here. Just walk. If you can't get it together, walk away.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a
That-
matter of just once you understand, okay, he didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. It almost makes you start going, yeah, but why? Why didn't he mean it? Wait a minute. Maybe I do kind of need it. It almost when you don't attack, it almost makes you contemplate. I guess is it maybe
yeah.
maybe it's just me. I don't know.
No, I think that makes, I think it makes sense. I mean, I know that, we're all human. We all, we get connected to our feelings, and, with those feelings, there are things that really kind of stick together, like happiness,
Right?
joy, peace. Those things are bonded together, but anger, frustration, lashing out, those things are bonded together too.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's trying to manage. And I know we talked about the managed mind versus the man in the cage,
Right.
um, but trying to manage those in a way that keeps you with your hands on the wheel,
Right. Yep.
So it's an interesting, kind of balance. Um, would you say that particular balance is something that you've gotten better at?
Yeah, yeah. I think honestly, like if like 7 years ago me met me now, he'd probably punch me in my mouth.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think there's probably a lot of people out there like that.
yeah. Because like I gotta be honest, I'd have to really tell him get it together. Like, and
Yeah,
that would be so real. And I feel and here's the thing, he'd know,
yeah,
but he wouldn't want to hear it.
exactly. The new you talking to the old you may say something along the lines of "suck it up,"
Get up, bro. Come
and
on.
you're like, "Oh,
And
not right
that's
now,"
how the right, and that's how the fight started, right?
Yep.
So
So it's a crazy war that we battle with in our head, and but that's just like you had mentioned. It's one of those things that it's an inside job,
yeah,
like if we want that change, we got to be willing to get our hands dirty and fix ourselves.
right. And
So,
really, who wants to take accountability? Since
oh
you
yeah.
were a kid, you knew it was wrong to get that cookie out that cookie jar, but you tried, and every
Oh
time
yeah.
you got caught, you tried to get away with it.
Well,
It's just something in us that doesn't want to, I guess, doesn't want to get berated. But the
hmm,
reality is, it doesn't have to be like that with the right people,
yeah. It's
right?
kind of like I want my pity party.
Right,
You want to be able to go, well, what about me?
right,
Um, and then the big picture is you take that time that you have, and where it's kind of like a quiet contemplation where you're really kind of thinking in more completeness, if that makes sense, instead of viewing something from only one perspective. It's looking at the other side of the coin,
right. Well,
and
I'm a big Marvel fan, right? So, there's in the original Avengers movie, right? Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk.
yeah.
He says, what's he say?
Eh,
The
oh
secret
yeah,
is always angry, right?
yeah,
I mean, at a certain point, that's kind of almost the reality of it. You become exactly what you're fighting in order to fight it better, and then you change,
absolutely.
you know? Um, because I turned that rage on myself a lot for a long time, right? I don't do that anymore. But it was all a process because for a while it was either you or me. All right,
Yeah,
well, if I got to change, I guess I'll take the hit. Well, then I got tired of taking the hit. And then I learned, well, wait a minute, time to make some real adjustments, right?
yeah,
And that's why I try to get these veterans that I work with to write because you don't have to share that with anybody.
yeah,
I encourage everybody to share because that's where communication starts. Those things you're afraid of that you're writing down, if you share those with me, bro, now I'm in there with you. Now I actually can, to a degree, help you fight this fight. But with zero information, zero
yeah,
communication, I can't even help you with anything.
yeah.
You
I mean, and it's one of those things where don't leave me in a position to speculate because I can't help speculation,
Hmm.
you know? So would you say that your writing, I mean, you would probably agree that, kind of getting into writing, it was for you when you first started. It was, you putting your thoughts and your feelings down on paper, right? What was it like? What was it like kind of looking at that from that particular standpoint of this is the change that I'm going to implement in my life? And at what point did that become change that you wanted to help others with?
Wow. Wow, that's a deep question. At first, I just understood that I was releasing something. My work was really dark and really hard. Um, but then there came a point where I genuinely started to focus my writing purposely. So I got angry, I wrote, right? Not like
Okay.
days later I was sitting here writing, filling the time, but I started to purposely focus my writing. Well, what I started to see was while I was angry, I really wanted to put my hands on Matt. I wanted to do things out of character. When I wasn't angry anymore, I was able to look at that and go, bro, like you really need to take a step back because you shouldn't feel this way towards anybody,
Yeah.
right? And so it gave me a position to, for the first time, fundamentally see what everybody else saw wrong. I knew I was self destructing, but I really didn't understand, I guess, the how far I had gone.
Yeah. Do you think that, I mean, perhaps, I mean, I'm kind of thinking of, just trying to visualize. It's almost like shining a flashlight in a really dark room, looking for a pinpoint, specific item
Yeah,
that you can go, that's what I want to work on.
yeah.
Um, Now, did your earliest work, was there a whole lot of search for resolution in that, or was it just kind of get it out?
Man, nah, it was like vomit. It was like pain vomit, man. It was bad. I mean, I had a piece when I during all this, I had lost my wife and I lost a son, and I wrote a piece that just was blasphemous, man. I mean, I was on stage calling God down. So in a bad way. I
Yeah.
was so hurt by that. But that's the kind of shit that was coming out in the beginning. Um, and I really didn't, I had no real control over it. But see, when the feedback started to be a mixed bag of, wow, I'm just amazed that you would do something that raw on stage and thank you, versus, yo, that really is putting us in a place where we don't want to be and you need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
That really made me evaluate, well, all right, and like I said again, focus my work. All right, well, how do I make this something somebody does want to hear? Ultimately, where I started seeing it as something I wanted to do to help other people, Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah, Denver.
What
After
what
my
was
wife,
it?
taught, my wife and the rec therapist team here pretty much bullied me into entering because I didn't believe in my work. And
Yeah, but they saw you in a way that they wish you could see you.
100%. And
So,
look what came of it. And
yeah.
after that, we've talked about this. My wife and I talk about this all the time. Sometimes I don't want to lie to you, but if I knew that that little tiny lie would make your life that much better right in this moment, I might tell you, yeah, man, you just got off a motorcycle. You look like Santa in a windstorm. No, it's beautiful, bro. It's
Beautiful.
beautiful, right? Now, that kind of thing, you kind of almost expect from a loved one sometimes. So
Yeah.
when that kind of validation comes from somebody that has no idea who you are, and in the scheme of things will probably never ever again know who you are, but in passing there was a connection,
Yeah.
man. There's just something different in that that says, okay, look, nobody's just trying to hold me up today. Nobody's doing the crutch. Nobody's being my crutch today. They meant it. And
Yeah.
after a certain amount of time, like, I started to believe that, and that just helped me fundamentally really find what I wanted to do with what I was doing. Because it was still kind of all over the place for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm,
I remember Denver, man. I remember seeing you up on stage, just running through it, when we did our rehearsals, and you could visibly see the nervousness and the shaking and the quiver in the lip and the shortness of breath. You could see those physical things happening. And I remember, being in the when, on the night when, hey, it's the final, like, rehearsals are done. We're gonna
yep,
go out there and we're gonna do what we came here to do. And I remember you in the dressing room and you're just breathing, trying to figure it out. And I was just like, all I could think in that moment, man, is like, everyone here is here for you. You know, no
right,
one wants anything bad for you.
right.
And dude, I'm telling you, it was so loud after you finished, we could hear the crowd in the dressing room. And I was so happy. And when you
And that
came back, man, oh,
did it, man. And that's what did it. And that's a good point. Everybody was literally, I mean, people bought tickets to the show to be there for us. Everybody really was there for us. You're not wrong. But
yeah,
that is a good example of this illness. I
yeah,
didn't hear any of that. I didn't know any of that. In
yeah,
that moment, I was climbing Mount Everest and I
yeah,
was out of oxygen in my tanks and I was in muscle fatigue and I was going down, dude. But that's what I'm saying. For me, every time I hit that moment, but also move forward, I win and I prove myself more well. Does that make sense? Because I
yeah,
literally proved to myself in that moment, I've won. I can turn around and go, ha 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 ha, right? I did it,
yeah,
beat you. And in that, there's something powerful, and even if
absolutely.
it doesn't even matter what you do, just do something, achieve anything, because those small victories, they lead to bigger ones, dude.
Absolutely. Well, I used to work at the Combatives Academy in Fort Richardson, Alaska, and one of the things we always tried to tell soldiers, we're talking about grappling over dominant body positions, that you're gonna have an opponent that outweighs you. You're gonna have an opponent that is stronger than you, more
Yep.
skilled than you. Staying still is not an option.
Right.
You need to move.
Yep.
If you move and it's not a very good position, move again.
Yep.
You know, move until there are no more moves.
Absolutely.
But
And
staying still in that
because
train of thought is not an option.
absolutely, and that's the thing, because this mental fight, it's the same thing. If I stop moving, oh, the thoughts start climbing in and crowding in, and it's hard, But
Yeah,
here's the thing, like, the fun thing about mental warfare is you got more tools. Even if you can't get up out of bed, you can use your paper and your pen.
yeah,
You can release something. That piece that you like that I did called He Can, about all the things I could do that day I was stuck in bed.
yeah,
That's what I did. I couldn't get up that day, was talking myself right there stuck in bed under the covers, and I just picked up my pad and pen and started writing. And
yeah.
there we were.
So we've mentioned in the previous episode, and we've kind of briefly touched on it in this one. You are a nationally recognized poet, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
now, how many books do you have out now?
Currently in print, I have 7 collections of poetry,
Okay,
and I have 3 fiction works published.
okay.
Yep.
Well, did you bring something to share with us today?
I was actually kind of caught off guard, running a little late, as it
Yeah, yeah.
were. And
So I'm not
my
I'm not gonna lie. I do not read. Um,
1 second. Hey, beautiful best friend, would you kindly get me Words from the Dark from my desktop? Thank you, love. That was my wife, by the way.
oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
your wife, your best friend, you're
And,
you're through and
you
through,
know,
man.
I'll tell you what, dude. This is 4th marriage for me. I fucked up 3 of them, right? Not by myself, I know. But the reality is, you know, like we were talking about, we can choose to do things the same over and over and over and over, or we can just choose to be better.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
kind of
me,
like the
come at it, we just lift each other up. We talk to each other like that all day long. We even talk to each other like that when we're fighting. Oh God damn it, bestie.
I'm so mad at you, but I love
But
you.
I know, but the thing is, dude, it's just a matter of, mutual respect and letting the other person know, like, you are that important person, you know?
Yeah,
Goes back to pet names. Hey, baby. Hey, sugar booger. I
yeah, yeah,
always liked that. And that was from Jimmy Neutron, man. I don't know
yeah.
if you ever
Sugar
watched that
booger.
cartoon. I think my wife may be at a loss for finding this book in my catastrophe of a mess back there,
Well,
bro.
hey, don't worry. If you gotta go grab it, this little
That's all
section
right,
we
man.
can clip.
What you need? I don't know what I did with it then, beautiful. Maybe it's in the second drawer. We'll just keep we'll keep guessing. I'll have my wife dig through the whole drawer before we're
That's hey, it's fine. We just we'll clip it however we need to.
done. Oh man.
Well, while she's doing that, let me go ahead and just ask you this question, kind of jumping back into the, your writing being something that you initially were just trying to, it's like you said, it's like vomit, just getting it out. And then there were things that were, just dark and angry and just kind of like a disheveled chaos, but at least it was out. Do you find yourself going back to those pieces of work now and trying to create resolution in them?
Ah, that's pretty cool. So you just made me actually remember something. I had a buddy of mine back in the day that asked me if I was one of those guys that writes sequels
Yeah.
to his work. And I see that as the same thing, like a throwback to kind of respond to, and I've been thinking about it. It's the copy. I got a couple of poems that are entitled, like "What Am I?" or "Who Am I?" And there is part of me that wants to go back and say, "Hey, bro, this is who you are," right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, I want to pay respect to who that person was when he wrote that too. Like, I don't feel like that poem needs resolution. He didn't need resolution. He needed to release, right?
Kind of like viewing it like a almost like a growth chart.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Like perseverance looks a little differently now, but perseverance back then was it was
right.
shrouded in, some pretty dark, hard moments.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
like, to go back and answer that call back, it'd be the same thing. Would he listen to me?
Yeah.
And in the case that he won't, what is the point of wasting my time? Because
Yeah.
what I do is I let those words out into the universe in different style, like things like "meant to be," right,
Hmm.
or "stupid poetry." Right?
Yeah. Stupid
So like,
poetry.
and so I think that if there's a version of him that's able to hear that, he gets it.
Yeah. Hmm. It's interesting, man. I'd love hearing you talk about your work because I know both you and I have talked numerous times, on the phone where, whether it's like, hey, I got a challenge for you, or you share something with me and I give you a perspective and you're like, see, I knew you were probably
Right.
gonna get it like that. And it's so good to have, kind of, instead of being in that battle by yourself in your mind, you got a battle buddy, like
Absolutely. Right.
and both you and I are the caliber of person that we don't want to see people experience, trauma or hard times. So we want to do everything we can to help them.
Absolutely, man.
Um, Now this is a question kind of off the wall. I know we was talking about uniforms and whatnot. Do you ever put your uniform on and just kind of strut around the house?
Nah.
No,
Nah.
I'm the only one then.
Maybe, Matt, you might be a peacock, bro. Maybe.
I tell you what, I lie to myself every time I do it. I put it on, I stand in front of the mirror, and I'm like, I still got it. No, you don't.
No, I'll tell you, first of all, number one, I don't put that uniform on because, again, I can't remember very well. I don't actually know if everything is in order or squared away. And the one thing I pride myself is in my whole military career, I only got gigged in like two or three inspections in my whole career.
Yeah.
My uniform was squared away, man, until I really started to decline. like my appearance and stuff and my professionalism, I tried to keep up with that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Uh,
that was the standard, to
right,
maintain that fit, professional, just rough as nails appearance. And I mean, I tell you now, like I put it on, but I certainly am not going to go get hemmed up by somebody who knows better.
right.
That's the last thing I want.
Now I got a pair of BDU pants that I wear, yeah, sometimes like with a hoodie and stuff like that, but not as an actual uniform.
I will admit I did wear it out in public once. It was to a costume party and my nephews were around and so I wanted to dress up like soldier
That's
again and I
awesome.
I have my my camos on and I went over. They're just like, "Oh, you look so cool." But I'm gonna tell you what, I was also 30 pounds heavier.
I
Yeah, there was some issues with the trim appearance, you know what I mean?
bet, I bet. But hey, that just means you're happy, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, brother.
So what do you think? Do we have a piece of literature you want to share with us
Well,
from
so um so yeah, I don't actually have any real copies around. This is the author copy, so it's got like a do not sell band on it. Um did you have anything in mind?
No, no, I want you to read what kind of speaks to you.
Well, so you keep going back to the way the past was, and there's a lot of profanity in some of this old stuff, buddy. Are you ready for that?
Well, I think we got
All
Tom in the background. He can clip it out.
right. Fair enough. All right, so now if he gets on and watches, I got a buddy of mine, Mr. Blank, really, really liked this poem when he first read it back in the day. I'm gonna go ahead and read this to you, but
Okay,
be
give us the
prepared.
title. Give us the title and maybe kind of speak on where you were when it was created.
All right. So in my head, I was really just screaming at everybody that kept telling me that they understood. You
Okay.
ever, you ever in when you're not doing so well, you ever have a civilian tell you that they get it? Hey man, I get it. I totally understand.
Hmm.
You might understand PTSD, but you don't understand. You don't understand what I'm saying and what I'm trying to convey about what I've been through, right? And it made me angry, really angry, because like, what right do you have to try to compare yourself? That's how I felt. Compare yourself to me. I'm going through this, and you're sitting over there, and are you serious? That kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this piece is called "So You Think You Understand." So you say you understand, but I don't think you do. And I'll tell you something else, my friend, that makes me angry too. Maybe you can understand some of the things I say, but certainly you don't get everything that made me this way. Have you ever seen a child crying for the dead, and the child that he's crying for is missing half their head? Now, they'll say I went too far and said something that is wrong, but I get to watch it in my head my entire lifetime long. Those children are replaced by mine when I drift away for snores. I always watch them dying. Those Z's for me, they're chores. Have people ever shot at you, but not just with a toy? Then you go and turn around and the gunman's just a boy. I was almost blown up once, survived by a literal inch. If I'd stumbled my way around that night, I wouldn't have needed a pinch. See, I would have been dead, just pretending to be asleep. And some days I still long for that so my dark thoughts can't creep. Once I worked nearby a ward where they saved people like you, but there were dead bodies everywhere. Men, women, and children too. Then you get really angry because of all you've seen, and it eats into your soul for breakfast and lunch and dinner if it's keen. You isolate for safety for the people you're around, but then when they are needed, they're nowhere to be found. People say in their family, great, because that's what I need. But in reality, they're looking for my misery so they can feed. Some that stay are tougher, seemingly built for anything, but once they see the horror, it's fear they always bring. They're scared that I might lose control or just start an argument, as if my anger differs from theirs and I'm just malcontent. What if this was all just an act, but now I can't get me back? I feel like an addict between a fix, always in pain, like I'm under attack. Oh, look, there he goes again. Hey, wait, I'm just a little upset. I did the only possible right thing, yet pointed at is all I get. I'm just a regular guy with feelings like all the rest. I'm just a bit more broken, but I still aim to be the best. It's all a game inside my head, one that I have to play for keeps. I just hold it all inside myself and I break while everybody sleeps. See, I can only give so much before I need one back. People seem to think it's me when it's them that truly lack. I give and ask only for love, but still the reality is such that my most challenging days have made me hate you so damn much. Every day I would ask them all, am I doing well? And they'd look at me and they'd smile at me, and lies were all they would tell. You said that you would help fight off all this hate, but in the end, you helped yourself and you just helped seal my fate. You said you fucking understood. You said I could miss a beat. And now I'm standing here all alone, just wallowing in defeat. But wait, I remind myself, as I have done before, I knew deep down you didn't, and now I know it more. Let me buckle up my belt and tie these shoes real tight. Let me get out of my head and make this all right. Let me stand the fuck back up and glance this off my chin. I got a lot of things to do, and I'll be damned if I won't win. Now, I do have my ups and downs, and sometimes I still sin, but I have got a lot of good to settle somebody in. If you listen, maybe you get it a little bit better than you did. But just remember this, my friend, we all keep some things hid. For the whole story is never discussed. No, far from it, in fact. And no warrior is ever at peace after we come back. Thanks.
Man, no, I mean, you just answered my next question, brother. I mean, I got to tell you, woo. Um,
Yeah.
my next question was going to be, does any of your work ever take you back and have you experience those feelings? I could see it, brother. I appreciate you for sharing that. And I know it seems kind of cliche because I'm going to say it now. I do understand. Um,
I know, brother. I know.
I know we recently just kind of communicated about something that I thought I had written it down and I crumbled it up and I thought I had thrown it away, you know. And you
Right.
said, "Hey, man, the universe acts kind of weird in that way, you know." And the whole time you're talking to me, it's almost like you're still in your poetry, right? And so I'm getting motivated, and I'm thinking, "No, well, maybe Tommy's right. You know, maybe I should pick up a pen and paper tonight, you know." And then I did, and it was so hard after writing it all down to say it out loud,
Yeah, man.
you know. And it's
Yo, because that's the look, and that's awesome that you said that. That's the power of what I'm trying to teach people.
yeah,
Because inside your head, it's a thought, and we can pretend it's not real until we can't. But on paper, it's tangible,
yep,
it's emotional. You read that back to yourself, and you have an emotional response, an emotional release. You connect,
yeah.
you let go, right? And over time, that process is how you find your wellness you've been seeking. You had a breakthrough that night too, right?
Yeah, that was a little crazy, man. You know, I mean, I'll share just a little bit. I know this is about you, but this is similar to what you were just talking about. Some of the things that you had experienced. You know, I came back from Afghanistan after seeing two kids killed by an RPG,
Right,
and I mean, I distanced myself from my kids. You know, I was having a hard time. Coming to conclusions like rational conclusions. You know, like, hey, I should talk to somebody, and I was right there in that spot just in my head,
right.
listening to everything that, I was saying about myself to myself. Um, but then I ask you, and you say, "Hey, just what I do," and I know that you're like, "Look, you love what I do, and I absolutely love what you do." he said, just kind of like, just try it on, man. Give it a shot,
Yeah.
and it was, oh, it was rough. Um, but now I have a piece, that I've written for me,
Right.
and that's how it starts. It starts for us as a part of our healing.
Absolutely.
Um, but then when we see that it has an impact on other people, we go, purpose. I
Absolutely.
can take all this pain and turn it into purpose.
Yo, because I'm telling you, out there amongst our community, there's somebody else that saw that in their way, that's waiting for that message that that's okay.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, like, you could clearly see the emotional response from me reading, but the difference being is I also can process through that now.
Yeah.
There was a time I could barely read that, let alone compose myself and have a conversation, right? So, you know, oh, like I said, that's the process. You just keep reading, keep writing, keep reading, keep writing, keep reading. And eventually you can actually read that piece. It's like listening to a song that makes you cry.
Yeah.
And then after you hear it on the radio so many times, you're just kind of immune to it. You're not immune to it. You let that feeling out already. Now you're enjoying it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I've cried at my own stuff, like my own
Mm-hmm.
songs that I've written, and it's just me connecting with me again, you
Right.
know,
Yep.
because in doing this stuff, and you know it just as well as I do, that as soon as we start to share these things with other people, I'm not going to say that it feels like an obligation, but that it becomes the purpose. And we're so focused on that purpose, like, let me impact one. That's the
Yeah.
goal, just
Yep.
one.
Yep.
And then when we do, we're like, okay, now give me another one,
Right. Absolutely.
you
Line
know,
up. You know.
and you keep looking forward like that, and you forget, hey, I still need to look back. I still need to look at me. Do like a do a check in, check in on
Well,
yourself.
the coolest thing about it is at a certain point, your writing becomes both. Your
Hmm.
writing also, it talks to you and it talks to them in the right way. Like that piece that I did, You Are the Mission, that I use in my group. It was originally to me. Focus on you, bro. Focus on doing what you need to do. Be who you're supposed to be. And, then it turns out that that's one of my veterans' favorite pieces, dude. They love that piece because it says everything you need to know, right? You remember that person you were in the service who they said go do it, and you said yes, sir.
Yeah.
You didn't ask. You
Yeah.
didn't. You didn't complain. Well, we complained, but you certainly didn't do it there, and you certainly didn't let the mission go undone, right? But
Yeah.
the point is, you just did whatever you needed to do to get through what you were getting through. Why do we throw that away?
Yeah.
And so that piece, You Are the Mission, is all about that. Like, get it together and do what you did then, but put it on you.
Yeah.
Put that tenacity into finding you. And I'm saying after that, your wellness will follow.
Now, do you have that piece available?
I'm sorry, what? You are
The
the mission.
You Are the Mission, right? Because I would love if, because we've mentioned it, the You Are the Mission, and we've mentioned your group. Let's talk a little bit about how this concept, or how it came from a concept to a permanent bi-weekly thing with the VA. Kind of walk me through that. How did that start? And what happened, kind of immediately following, that initial idea.
So I had a brief interaction with one of the rec therapy facilitators at the Battle Creek VA during the public showing of the Veterans Creative Arts Festival show, the winners showing, or their gallery showing. Anyway,
Okay.
so everybody was there checking out the art submissions that we had put in and all that. I had a conversation about this with my friend Katie, who's been my co-host for almost a year, and is now stepping away to free up her nights a little more for the new addition to the household. She just had a little dude. Yeah, he's awesome. But anyway, through the chaotic that was coming out of my mouth at the time about how I was going to turn the world upside down with art that I had no real idea how.
Yeah.
There was just something in that conversation that Katie heard that put her little mind to work. And after a while, I honestly just kind of thought in one ear, out the other, here we go again. And she hit me back and was like, were you serious? And do you really want to do this? And what were we talking about? Like, how would we do it? And so I put together a concept idea and I said, well, how about we do these pieces? Because, this reason, this reason, and this reason, and this reason. And then, see what happens. So November 2024, she gave me my shot. And I actually work directly in inpatient mental health, right? So it's those folks that were really struggling, have now finally asked for help. They're not in a great place. And for me, I find that really fascinating because it's a perfect display of the reality of what I do. I walk in that room and those veterans are kind of there simply just to not be wherever they just were. And
Yeah.
by the end of that group, they're writing, they're talking, they're sharing, they're smiling. I don't get everyone, but
Yeah.
the transition that happens between, it's awesome, man. And the group itself, it's just I perform for them. I explain what I meant by that piece, talking to myself. What was my intention? What was I doing here? Because I want you to understand what the hell I'm saying. It's not
Yeah.
writing your feelings. That's broad.
Yeah.
So I perform and then I engage them, kind of detail it. Then I give them a hands-on exercise to write their own personal creed. So basically, just lift yourself up. Tell me the great things about you. Tell me who you are, so that in the dark, you got your own light right in your hand, right?
Hmm.
Um, and that's pretty much the sum of the workshop. We just hang out, we talk, and I demonstrate what this really is, in hopes that they will take that and find a use for that for themselves.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yep.
So you are the mission. You mentioned you are the mission. Let's
Yep.
if you got it with you, let's share it with our listeners. Because I mean these things that you're talking about, these are not things that are just solely for veterans.
Well, now,
The
so you are the mission is a tough one for you right now because I don't have. I sent you a link. Do you have the link that I sent you?
mm,
I actually sent you a special version of "You Are the Mission" for your listeners. That
is
is.
right here.
Do you got access to that SoundCloud link? Can you play that song from your end?
That I do not have. Do you have just the words?
I can make the words work, but I got to play with it because the song and the poem are not the same.
Okay.
Um,
Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and capture the poem, and then we'll go to that link, right? Because this is pre-recorded, we can just snip that in and put that in this place.
I'm pretty sure I can edit this for you so that it's squared away. All right,
Okay,
ready?
hit it.
You are the mission. As soldiers, it was ingrained in us to always put the mission first and to never leave anyone behind. But I implore you to recognize our battlefield has been redefined and the rules are not the same anymore. As a veteran, the only thing that comes first is you. You must endure and learn from what you've been through. You must rise above to be that person you never believed that you could be, but were proven that you can. Look, you remember that version of you who never asked why because it was all a part of the mission? Well, acknowledge that version of you and stop asking why because now you are the mission. Some of you that are listening might not understand the message I bring, so let me make it simple. If you take the pain and hurt that you feel, pack it up carefully and deliver it real, you will affect many more lives and you'll come to find that this is what drives you to want to be here. See, you were shaped and molded for one thing, and although you've monstrously misdefined it, that one and only thing was helping when and where you were needed. Whatever you did to get to this moment, all that is required is for you to own it. Because every hurdle and pitfall along the way brought you to be right here today. So I ask you to trust and take my example and just give yourself and your community a sample of what it feels like for you to be a hero again by sharing the path that led you through what you see as your own sin. And like Jesus, who opened up humanity's eyes to see, you can be a savior to others like you and me. But you must stop condemning yourself like this is your end and be as strong as I know you can be, my friend. That's it. That's it. Yeah. Thank you. That's
Awesome.
it. It's
Awesome.
edited different to make it long. Well, you do music. It's
Yeah.
edited different for filler, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we can, I mean, we can definitely like at the end of, tonight's episode, well, I'm gonna ask you, where to find your your material.
Heck
So
yeah,
we
bro.
can definitely, you know, ping that right there. Um, so you are the mission. You can see in this. I mean, I know before we jumped into the reading that this is something that doesn't just solely apply to veterans. This is something that it's for everybody.
Absolutely.
And while we talked with veterans and first responders, Gold Star family members, musicians in the community, nonprofit organizations, for-profit organizations, you know, these things that we're talking about are things that can be implemented into everyone's lives. This isn't
Absolutely.
just for the guy who deployed and came back and he was fine. You
Right.
know, this is for the mother who's having a hard time, balancing, motherly responsibilities, a marriage, a household, and a full-time job.
Right.
It applies to everyone. And I think that piece really kind of highlights that for other people.
Yeah, I love it because, there are times when we kind of get it more, right? Because clearly it was directed right at us.
Yeah.
Alternatively, though, if you just kind of put yourself in those shoes, fine. You never technically, quote unquote, had a mission, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You get it. And the reality is, if you put yourself first, I don't care who you are, you're going to see a benefit from that. You know?
Absolutely.
Yep. And I think, that's what's awesome about we're kind of growing. I kind of have a little bit of a team now. My guys Brad, Joe, Jonathan, and our new little homie Meg. She's a musician. I think you really dig her.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of us are veterans, a couple of us are civilians, right? A couple of us are poets, a couple of us are painters. But the concept is this is all partly peer support too. It works because I get it. You hear that I get it. That's why it works. It's not coming from somebody that you got a question. Does he get it? Does he
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah. Does he
I
understand?
kind of think he does. So, like on the civilian side, same thing, where you've got that dividing line for some people. Well, he's a veteran. It's not the same. Fine. I got a civilian right here. Let's
Yeah.
talk. Let's see what his opinion is, right?
Yeah.
Because the truth is, we do that. We divide up everything, right? What is my community? Is it veterans? Is it humans? I mean, depends,
It's
right?
it's a bit of everybody. Anybody who's got the heart and the compensity to create healing and opportunity for other people,
And see,
that's
but
who it
building
is. That's
a
who you
team
build your
like this,
team with.
right? And building a team like this is difficult though, because not everybody sees it that way.
Oh yeah.
Some veterans only want to hear a veteran. And that's just the way it is. I was that guy for a while, you know.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make sure that we can, get into the gray areas. Like if you got a question, if this don't work for you, let's see what we can make work for you. Let's give it another shot, right? Let's not.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, did you ever think that your content, your poetry, your heart and your want to kind of champion people outside of like your normal circle, did you ever think that any of that was gonna get you a Telly Award or an Emmy nomination?
No.
Yeah, like
Look, first of all, I barely even believed that they nominated me to go to Denver. I mean, like all the way up until I actually got on that flight, I was waiting for somebody to pop out and be like, "Psych, we
gotcha.
got you. You were on punked, bro." You know,
Yeah, where's Ashton Kutcher, man?
I'm
Where's
just
that?
saying, dude. So like, no, man, no, hell no. I never ever imagined, and I right now couldn't imagine what comes next. I don't know.
So let's talk about that then. Uh, Kind of the feelings that were associated with it. Um, what inspired the possibility of that becoming something? Um, yeah, tell our listeners about being, or tell our listeners about getting that Telly Award and that Emmy nomination for you inspiring others.
Isn't that
Let's talk about it.
I do. I love that. So yeah, I did. I inspired an awesome guy named Romeo Lucchesi. I hope I said that right. I hope I didn't jack that.
You probably didn't. I remember him
Probably
from
did.
Denver.
I probably did. And he's gonna hate me for that. So look, anyways, I met that man on so right on my way into Denver. We had landed at the airport. We were waiting on transportation. We were the only two guys in that little like square like arrival space. They decked
Yeah,
out middle of the airport.
yeah.
Made us all everybody looking at us. Anyways,
You
so we
remember they put us by the food court too, like.
yeah. But you know me, man. Like when I'm just sitting there and I got nothing better to do, like I just start picking. I pick somebody and I start talking. That's what I do. I talk. So we got to talking. I told him about what I do, and I gave him obscure thoughts.
Okay.
I gave him this one. Um, and there's a couple pieces in here that really stood out to him. A piece called "Meant to Be," and what was the other one? "Take This From Me." There was a couple of excerpts from both of those pieces that really just inspired him in his way. And he's a videographer. So he ran around the festival that week talking and shooting and put together his video. And in the end, had me narrate and recite some of those pieces that he really liked. So you get to see me in the video, you get to hear my work. And I kind of open it and I close it. I open it up by like clicking on the bedside table light. And then we actually end the video with that light going back off. I clicked to black. And then it was really awesome because he threw right at the end to it closes inspired by the work of T.A. Walk. And dude, that was just monumental for me, man.
Oh
Um,
man.
Now I'll say, for as much as I rode those coattails, that nomination and that award was my man Romeo's. But yes, I was part of the whole process because he included me as a contributing artist for the inspiration, man. So that was really, really dope.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I remember you talking about that with me over the phone, and when you had mentioned, like, dude, an Emmy nomination, I was like, what?
Yeah,
No
I went
way.
to Emmys, bro. Like
Yeah,
I had to actually go to the store and buy a suit. I
yeah.
haven't done that in years, bro.
I remember seeing pictures of you and Romeo in your suits, man. You guys looked sharp too.
Dude, I'll tell you what, my wife was dressed to the nines, bro. She was banging that night. Did you see pictures of D? Wow, you should. And don't be looking at my wife too long though, because
What? Come on, man. Like, that's not even a thought.
yeah, but for
You
real, that was
crazy.
hot in that red dress she picked out. Oh my god, for real.
Okay, we'll cut that part out.
Yeah,
We'll leave that for you and her.
cut all that out.
Yeah.
But
So,
you can see that picture on my website though.
oh yeah, man, you guys were dressed. You all looked sharp, man. And that's what kind of was like, when you told me, I was like, "There's no way. There's no. That's not possible. Like, how? How
Yes
does that
way.
happen?"
Hey, watch
And
it.
then I saw that
Right.
picture, and I was like, "No way."
Grab that picture off the nightstand. Yeah. Here, we'll go ahead and show you it since you want to
Yeah.
talk about it. I actually, so I printed that one out for our art exhibit that we did in September.
Hmm.
That was actually in my little awards section of my exhibit to show that, you know, believe it or not, there can be good days ahead. Like all those things stand to remind me of those accomplishments. So my illness can't say, no, you didn't. Right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
here, look.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, look at that red dress. Bad lighting. Man, she looked
You
amazing.
guys,
Horrible lighting. But anyway, look, I had
you
a
guys
sweet
are awesome,
fedora.
man.
Man, that was a really amazing
That
night.
fedora, it fits your head so well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about, okay, we talked about the Telly Award and how, just the feeling that you had with it. Now let's talk about um the September event that you put together. That was an exhibit that you had put together with several other artists.
Yep.
Um, and that ran for it was 3 weeks, like the
Yeah. From
sixth of
Yeah, it was about yeah, about 2 or 3 weeks we ran. Yep.
okay. It was like what the 6th to the 26th of
Yeah.
September, and it was out
6th
there.
to the 27th.
Okay, but right out there in Battle Creek,
Yep. At the
right?
Art Center of Battle Creek. Yep.
So let me ask you, talk about that a little bit, and then I'm going to ask you some more questions.
All right.
That idea, where'd that come from?
Just another. So again, I was struggling with how do I get my message out? Like, I was performing my ass off everywhere, but I don't make no money. It's all just a
Yeah,
hobby, right? So it's like a wish and a hope that somebody sees you and an opportunity comes out of that. But I was really floundering and I wanted to do something, not just keep waiting. So again, from the the exhibit for the Veterans Art Festival was held at Art Center of Battle Creek. And honestly, man, around here, folks love my work so much. Like, the curator at the art gallery spoke to me right from that point about putting something together and kept asking me what I would do. And I really kind of juggled with it for a long time. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. With a whole gallery, not only can I tell little bits and pieces, but I can use those little bits and pieces to paint a whole other picture, and
yeah,
not just a small one either. Like, I mean, start to finish, and the dirty and the pretty and the nasty stuff. We can make it music, we can make it painting, we'll do it all. And that's what we did. And then I said, I know I kind of get my hands in everything, but it just holds so much more weight when there are more of us, right? I mean, one dude protesting in the street is a guy having a tantrum. 1,000
yeah,
people having a voice is a movement, right?
yeah.
So I said, well, how do I do that? So I just put the word out through the people I knew. You supported me. We put your
Absolutely.
up. Um, I had a couple, another poet that supported me. I had another veteran artist that did some amazing work. I had a young lady who paints, sculpts, I mean, does murals. Those stories got told, all through the simplicity of I had an opportunity and I shared. I mean, it didn't hurt me in any way. And I think sometimes that's what we forget. I didn't need the spotlight. I
Yeah,
was I was talking about what I was talking about. And by
yeah,
sharing that, I feel like that mattered more because it wasn't a spotlight. It
yeah.
was a showcase.
It's not about us. It's not about that, like, oh, look what I did. It's, hey, look at them.
Right.
Look what they're doing.
Yep.
There's more people out there in the community, not just me, and that takes me back to when we had our the open house for the arts here in Omaha. Man, there was a lot more people competing in the creative arts competition, and I just sat there. I was with my wife and I was listening to these other artists and these other musicians. There were people doing dance, and kind of
Right.
Broadway skits. And I was telling my wife, like, I hope they win. I
Yeah.
hope they win because, like, I wanted everything that I had experienced. And I know you say the same thing
Yep.
too. Everything that you experienced, Denver was kind of that like, dumping gasoline on the fire when we talk about
Absolutely.
change,
Yep.
So but genuinely, like I want to connect with people, and I don't want them to look at me as like, like I'm out for myself because it's to me it's never about me,
right?
you know, and I believe that, but we serve as, a potential catalyst to connect the community within or with more members of the community,
Absolutely.
you know?
Because by doing what we do the way we do it, if we inspire that next guy to pick up a pen and a pad or pick up a guitar and use that voice that they have, I mean, now again, we're reaching somebody new through somebody new, through somebody new, through
Yeah.
somebody new. You know, it doesn't just stop and end with us. That's the thing, too, right? You look at it good or bad, the things that happen to us, they don't just impact us. And for a while, when you're in crisis and survival mode, that's all you understand. It's happening to me. But the
Yeah.
thing is, it was also happening to everybody around. And the same thing is happening now with our methods of therapy. We're taking that and we're saying, look, man, this might not work for you, but I'd love for you to try it.
Yeah.
Because if it does, bro, I'm promising you, if it does and you use it, it'll work.
Yeah.
Now, if it's
Absolutely.
not for you, put it down and then pick something else up.
Yeah. We'll try something else.
Right? Just keep going because it doesn't matter whether there's words in it or not. You're saying something.
Absolutely. And I
Mhm.
think that I've kind of seen, where people have, I mean, I've heard in comments, I wrote a song and someone said it was something along the lines of, "Hey man, you missed your calling." And it's like, "No, no. I put it on the back burner for something bigger than myself."
Yeah.
You know? And joining the military for many people, it's not their first choice. They didn't join, for a sense of honor. They joined because they needed a job.
Right.
They needed to provide for a family, or they
They
needed a
need it
way
all.
out of a toxic environment. They needed to change the atmosphere,
Yep.
and the honor and the pride and the loyalty and the respect that they now have towards those particular service and those branches is something that they inherited by
Yeah.
stepping into those positions. And so, I mean, yeah, for me, like I just needed a job, man. I was a
Yeah.
nobody. I had a a new family, and the honor and the loyalty and the respect and the this everything that I love about the military now, it didn't start that way. It
Right.
became that,
Yep.
you know. And so for anybody out there, I mean, I know we agree that, you have something to offer, you know. And I know, like, what did I say earlier when you were like, "Hey man, I'm nervous about tonight," and I said, maybe it's time to give those intrusive thoughts, give them an eviction notice,
You know,
you know.
and that's the thing, because like, and see, here we are back to this. It's okay for you to say that to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you better watch it because that ain't
Yeah.
in. No, but you're not wrong, man. Like, and see, that's the thing because I always like tell people, real talk. I'm needy. I need you to remind me because there's moments I don't remember. It's
Yeah.
moments I don't believe. And so in those moments when I am struggling, that voice of, it's like you didn't used to be able to run 2 miles when you started, but after somebody started screaming motivationally
Yeah.
into your ear, man, you kick that shit up another notch. And
Yeah.
same thing when we lift each other up in private like that. Hey, man, you got this. Keep going. Let go of that. That's kind of sometimes all you need. Because it's almost like, hey, I knew that. I was really just waiting on a second opinion
Yeah.
because I wasn't sure. So thanks.
I know. I mean, I want you to read your somewhat cocky piece, and I'm going to segue into that. I remember just coming from what you've just said. The someone screaming behind you. It came to a point where I got a little cocky. In the military. Doing out there doing brigade runs and whatnot. Out there calling cadence, and yeah, I got educated real quick by a sergeant major uh, that certain cadence is not allowed. Don't challenge a sergeant major.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so, but yeah, there's a sense of that confidence that comes with, like shaping yourself into something better.
Right.
Um,
I
and
mean,
so with that,
look,
yeah,
Eminem's first mixtape probably didn't like look at himself as, a rap god,
yeah,
right? And then look how he progressed in his career. We all as artists develop that sense of self. I think honestly, most artists seek that through their art. Like they're looking for that self, that sense of self, that definition, that confidence. They want to believe, you know, but it's a matter of finding it.
yeah.
You know, I'm
With
learning.
that, with that, I want you to read this cocky piece. It's probably one of my favorite pieces.
Wait a minute. Look, you know what, man? We are going to have a conversation when this is over. Look, we had all this squared away. Look at
I
this.
know,
That
I
is not in my notes.
I
Was
know,
that one supposed to be here?
I don't know.
Why do you keep throwing me curveballs, homeboy?
I'm the host, man.
Man, I don't have access to that piece currently.
Okay, maybe
You
we can
talking
clip it
about
from.
stupid poetry, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm talking
You
about
really
stupid
like
poetry.
that piece.
I do.
I'll
I
tell you
really
what,
do, man.
look, since I'm unprepared, what I will do is I will make that a a voice, an audio recording, man, and I'll make sure that goes on SoundCloud. Since you love that piece so much,
I
I'll
do.
share that out there. How about
I
that?
do it. I do it.
I'll
Make
I'll
it
get it,
happen, brother.
but I can't help you with that one right now.
What you can do is take a little video of yourself with that,
Bet,
right? Don't change shirts, right? We got to have it look authenticity, and authentic and whatnot.
mm,
Um, but just read it into the camera, and then
bet,
we'll just
because
plug
then
it
you
right
can
in.
clip it in, right?
Yep, yep. Tom's the technical guru in the background. He's taking notes.
Bet. Hey, beautiful.
There he is.
Scott, we can edit. Hey, mama, can you go see if you can look in my bottom drawer in the bedroom or that pile of stuff you have for your art exhibit that you're putting together and see if you see stupid poetry? Matt is really infatuated with that piece.
I am. I love it, man.
Yeah.
So while she's doing that, let's just go ahead and jump into another question. Okay.
Can do.
We we talked about, the ideas of expanding the current work that you're doing with and looking towards for profits and nonprofits. Can you kind of give us just maybe just a taste of the ideas that are behind that thought process right now?
So right now we're focusing on for profit first, because we need money, right? That's always the sucky part about trying to help people. It really actually takes money. So we're looking at focusing on on our for profit at the moment. So what we're going to be doing is trying to reach out to some medical facilities, mental health facilities, and some local area therapist office and things like that, and kind of try to, I guess, like you get paid as a performer per hour to perform, right? As a musician,
Yeah.
kind of. So that's what we're looking at gearing the workshop. So like, I don't, off the top of my head, like $100 an hour for me. So if the workshop's an hour and a half, we'll make that arrangement with, say, the hospital uptown. Every time we do that workshop, that's the transaction. And
Okay.
or if there's some travel fees involved, right? Now we want to do that. We're actually going to launch that in January from the Art Center of Battle Creek to get us started. So it's not quite going to be mental health through art in the beginning, but it will give us an ability to do videography and photography to get a portfolio started and get moving. But look
Absolutely.
at trying to institute workshops in other facilities so we can just reach more people with the content. We're looking at more art galleries and broadening that exhibit, making mental health, mental wellness, and resilience through the creative arts more about us, less about me. I had a lot, I had very few of you to work with this time. So my work kind of overshadowed that exhibit. And what I would like to see in the future is multiple venues, multiple cities, multiple states, and we make that more us. So more people, more mediums, more. Um,
Yeah.
we want to look at corporate and business structure. We can actually provide performance, entertainment, and mental health awareness in a corporate structure. So rather than boring, lagged out meetings, we can actually pick that up and talk about it for real and openly. Maybe give some of those people the ability to talk a little bit more openly right in the space they're at, right? I mean, who
Yeah.
doesn't want that in their life? We've also talked about something that I got you floating on the back burner for. We want to try to throw together something where we travel, bro. Like
Okay.
we travel almost as an ensemble, musicians, poets, artists, but place to place. And if I have my way, even active duty place to place, because I think that's where we need to reach these guys is before they let go.
Yeah.
Get them to understand the reality of it rather than just a briefing about, hey, see ya, do this, bye, right?
Yeah.
Um, hell, VAs, legions. But our goal is to merchandise with the t-shirts. As you mentioned, this one is the newest one, our message. We got the semicolon on there, right?
Yep.
And then on the back of this one, it says, with one step, a journey can start with just one voice that shares its heart. As we become legion and bear scars, together our message will outshine the stars. And that's exactly what our intent is. Like I was saying, build that community. When it's us, it's so much louder. It's so much prouder. There's no
Yeah.
way you can ignore us, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what this is all about, man. Like just getting that message out there. And how we're going to do that is with the little things. These t-shirts are now funding our ability to buy new shirts with new messages for everybody's a little different. Not everybody hears the same thing, right? We want to start incorporating this into little stickers, just a little pick me up that you can put wherever you want
Yeah.
to do, right? But it's those little things that are going to drive us into being able to facilitate these workshops because, there's a startup cost. I got to
Yeah.
supply, if I want to do a paint endeavor, I need easels, canvases, paint.
Yep.
Um, so once we get those things off the ground and a little bit of real income coming in, our goal is actually also to launch a nonprofit where we would then be able to push some of that for profit money in and give workshops to the community for free.
Yeah. So it's a lot. It's like, we're not just hanging up the phone or ending a meeting, or telling everybody, have a nice day. We'll see you next week. We're saying, hey, we're gonna cross state lines for you. You
Yeah,
know, we're gonna
absolutely.
break down some barriers and we're gonna make things happen.
Speaking of state lines, I just so I just got a response back from Karen Dunn, and it looks like I might work in Butler, PA now too.
Oh man, look at
Um,
that.
it's a matter of facilitating that connection that works for everybody.
Okay.
We're looking at lining up 4 dates at my discretion. The ball's in my court at the moment. But after the podcast that we had together the last time when me and Karen touched base again,
Yeah.
we connected via email after, and it looks like that relationship's gonna foster out something good, dude. So I might be reaching veterans over there with her now too.
That's awesome.
Yep. And that's the thing. It's one workshop now, right? But now that one workshop, it's in two locations. And that one workshop's going to be two workshops soon. And then that two workshops it's going to be like gremlins up in here, bro. We're going to throw water on everything and just watch them multiply.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, I can't wait till we have another episode with you, in the future and just kind of talk about how all these ideas and these thoughts have shaped up. Hey, do you have stupid poetry with you?
Oh man, I just so happen to have found
Oh,
that.
Okay, so let's do this. I know we're running a little short on time now, and I know we've only just scratched the surface on the things that you do. I want to end this episode for all the listeners out there with just this amazing piece. It is a little cocky, right?
It is a
But
little cocky.
after we're done with this, man, I want you to give our kind of, our kind of our call to action, what you would say to them. So go ahead and read this piece, and then you get the last message, brother. You tell them what you hope and what you want for them. So
All right, I'll do that. I love that you love this piece so much, man.
I
That's
do.
so much. Because I told you I struggled with this one because that cockiness for me, I don't want. I get out of control when I get cocky. I get mouthy. It's bad, man, and I don't want to be that guy. But you're not wrong in that I need to be confident in what I've become.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, one day, folks listening out there, man, it's a really long road. Then you start to feel better one day and you start to have some hope. And
Yeah.
then you turn that into something and you grow something. And then it's okay to enjoy that.
Yeah.
It's okay. You know how hard it was for me to go, man, I finally got better. And to accept that. Now I'm not perfect, but I got better. I got better.
Yeah.
Why was I so adamant about not accepting that? And that's kind of the same perception as this one right here. You know what? I'm doing the fucking thing. I'm really doing it. When am I going to get on board? Well, let's see. This piece is called Stupid Poetry. Someone I used to know once asked me, what do you think you'll ever accomplish writing your stupid poetry? And something about that stuck with me. Now, I know that it shouldn't matter to me. The truth is, this person has accomplished nothing in life of value, see? So why do I let it even bother me? But when your brain is just a little insane, there are so many things to be thought, and nowhere on earth can peace be bought when the what ifs become your addiction because you cannot control your affliction. So I let it marinate for real consideration. I mean, what is poetry to a devastated nation? We're all struggling so hard to put food on the table. What good is poetry when so many are unable? What do I think I'll accomplish with this stupid poetry? Well, it took me years, but I finally see. I got a woman to choose to stay just by sharing some poetry one day. Because the message inside the lines I write erased loneliness from her sight because my words resonated and made her feel less unique and somehow made her world look less bleak. I got a guy out there driving all around, cranking my tunes and sharing the sounds because lyrics that began as poetry opened his eyes and allowed him to see a path to wellness he sought for years. So he listens on repeat while he's out shifting gears. I got our nation's finest sharing their fears through poetry with themselves and their peers. I'm reshaping the way we do this damn thing and all for the simple joy it can bring. Because if I can help just one of them get through, that's something far greater than me or you. I have pondered if that question regarded fortune or fame. But the thing is, I don't need people to remember my name. What I need is to hone my abilities and better serve my purpose. And now my stupid poetry helps me do exactly this. So when people point as they laugh and they shout and they ask me what my stupid poetry is about, I think to myself, you'll know in a few years when you see the world change through the haze of your fears. Because one day you'll finally feel the need to really talk. Some doctor will prescribe you poetry by Thomas Walk. See, like it makes me giggle every time too, like a little kid,
Dude,
bro.
I don't look at it as, I mean, yeah, it comes out cocky, but I mean, what I hear is confidence and I hear possibility. I'm going to tell you right now, I've loved this episode. For everyone listening, thank you for tuning in. Tommy, I want you to take us out tonight. Tell us what your hope is and what your words of encouragement are for those who are listening today.
Man, I hope that if you find yourself failing, you simply do not stop trying to overcome it. We all fall down, but we can all get back up. And the reality is, man, like our possibilities really are infinite. You really should take that home with you and let that marinate for a little bit. Because all the things you thought you couldn't accomplish up until this moment, you're still here. You did. Don't put yourself down so hard. Lift yourself back up. You know, if you want to find me, mentalhealththroughart.com is the website. I'm a mess on social media, but you can see it there on Insta, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Thomas T.A. Walk, veteran poet. And we'll get everything squared away a little bit more coming into January. When I get done with this lab, man, the knowledge they've imparted on me, my business plan looks beautiful. I got a team building. January looks to be when we really kick off. So subscribe to mentalhealththroughart.com and get all the updates, man.
Tommy, thank you so much for coming in and letting us just kind of do a deeper dive. And I know like I said, we've always scratched the surface, man. Tom, want to
Somehow our
pre
conversations really just keep, I don't know, they never stop. They really get off track. They really become really amazing. And then you don't want to let go, you know?
Yeah,
You know, next
let's
time
bring
we'll
let's
do a
let's
3 hour episode, Tom. How about
yeah,
it? You
let's
know?
bring Tom Lamog back in here. Tommy, where you at? There he is, Tom.
You don't
Yeah,
need
you
to bring
guys
me
are
back.
awesome, man.
You
I
guys are
really
doing.
appreciate you asking me to be a part of all this. You guys, thanks.
It was wonderful. Just sit as you did last time. You allowed me to sit back and just kind of take it all in. And every poem that you wrote, that you read, that you've written, I was just mesmerized. I'm just listening, and I cannot help but think of you standing in a suit in front of the camera with the spotlight shining down on you as you
Yeah.
read this. And I see the gestures as well too as you speak them. So
And it's awesome that you paint that picture. You can actually ask Matt. There's a piece you should look up, Tom, called World Stage. And actually, in that piece, I very much visualize what you just said. Because the thing
wow.
is, that's the thing. Because look, if you would just give me that one moment in that one spotlight on that one stage that reaches the whole world, imagine how many lives we could change. Maybe they don't all get it, but imagine how many lives we could change.
Yep.
And that's what that peace world stage is all about, is that moment in time when somebody allows that recognition to be so that we can express this to the world the way we know it works. Right? Yeah.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
My goodness, my friend. Um, I do have some questions if it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I know you.
Bro.
Uh, I guess when I think of you sitting down to write, it must be. I think I already know the answer to this because you showed this on the first poem that you read, and it was an emotional journey for you. But in the writing process itself, I mean, I would imagine it's not just one and done. This is like, I'm going to write, write, write. Oh, I don't know that I like that. And you change it, but it's still an emotional outburst of some sort. It's kind of like you're writing, and maybe it's, frustration, or maybe it's just peace or whatever. Is that is that an accurate way of describing how you might approach writing? Is it's an emotional
So
journey through and through?
everything kind of depends on everything. It's very varied. If I got the the enunciation on that right? It's very varied. Because sometimes when I come in hot, man, I'm like, F you, I hate you, brow.
Yeah.
But then I write that anger out, and suddenly I start to go, but also I'm better than that, right? I want to do better. I temper my mood as I write. I know what's happening. I know what I want to get rid of. So it's a matter of, does it come out like, there's the anger. That's all there is. There's no more. Or is this a piece where that anger is only the first part? I'm going to need a couple days to come back and get at that and finish it. Everything is unique in the process. The day Matt asked me about the man in the cage, that conversation we had, I wrote that whole thing and I performed it within about 8 hours of his inspirational note, because there was something that he said that really triggered what he was trying to get at for me in a way that I did that whole thing in such an expressive way, but I went into it like, okay, Matt told me man in a cage, man in a cage, man. So I was like, let me say what Matt meant to say.
Mm-hmm.
But also I was like, but I got to show it. I got to show it. So let me throw that bit in there too. And it became what it was just out of, it molded itself. It molded itself by the way I felt. As my anxiety built trying to get his point of view through, my frustration built the man in the cage into the piece, right? So it became something, and most of my poetry, unless I purposely mean to come back to it, I write like that. I sit down and write, and I don't edit. Now I edit spelling, right? Sometimes I'll add a word here or there, but there's really not an editing process. This is all very raw. Most times what you see is exactly what you got.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Tom, when he hit me up and with a video of him performing the man in the cage versus the managed mind,
Mm-hmm.
when he when he was like, like presenting that man in the cage, you could see, like, I don't want to sound weird, like, oh, he physically changed, you could see that he became the man in the cage
Well,
Well,
with
I had
with
to,
the poetry.
yeah, I had to like put a tap in that anger and let that out for a minute. But the hardest part was train changing back, changing back
Yeah.
hard.
It's a very Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of transition.
And I had to make it work in such a way that it's almost kind of silly, because there's a moment where the guy in the cage is like, and then I'm like, no,
Yeah.
right? But I had to kind of almost snap myself weirdly out of it to stop feeling like that in the moment to be able to perform it. And I performed that live in front of an audience too, bro, after I performed it for you. And I'm telling you, dude, I got back some feedback that I never expected. I mean, people were like, dude, that was a fucking performance. Like, that's what we come for. And I was like, I don't know, because I got to go throw up, man. That was bad. That was
I
bad.
guess in a way to me that when see you in my mind as being a stage performer, you're acting out, this scene from from a script, even though it's your poetry. This is the way you need to deliver it.
Right,
Musicians, on the other hand, Matt and myself, we get the luxury of hiding behind our guitar, our instruments, and music.
right.
But the way, in order for you to make this poetry effective, is you have to be the one to read it. It's your emotions, your
Hey,
feelings.
but check this out, though. That's a cool note.
Mm.
I am currently working on making it so Tom Lamar can do it. I'm actually writing up basically a workshop SOP that will walk you through my emotional connection, so that when you work the workshop, you will have a full understanding of where the work is coming from. And having understood where it came from, we should be able to get you to be able to present it in quite the same format. Because understand, if you
Wow.
understand what the emotion is and what the message is,
Mm-hmm.
right, and what the personal therapy was, you can empathize the piece in the same way, because then you're going to go, oh, he meant that. Oh, I didn't even get that part, right?
I
That's
bet,
all you're missing is a little insight, bro. And then we take this whole thing worldwide.
and I'll say this. I know that music has always been something I find comfort in. I feel confident enough in terms of going to like a stage play and seeing what actors do or people who perform, on stage, it's like that is a bit unnerving to me. And I'm thinking what you have showed me tonight really is the delivery of the words and the emotions. Um, Poetry redefined to me is what you've just shared with me tonight. It's
Thanks.
like in my mind, it's kind of like, okay, it's very two dimensional. This is what I see. What I
Right.
see, what I read is poetry. No, no, and you called it out yourself when you had people watching you say as you performed. Um, this is what poetry is, and I'm so glad to have seen you share your work tonight to
Of
display
course.
it, to really demonstrate that. And I look forward to others grasping what it is that you're trying to teach them as well too. I've changed my outlook on what poetry is about thanks to you. Really.
I appreciate that, bro. Thank you. Because that's all I'm trying to do is get people to understand we don't all do it the same. But
Sure.
there's an inherent desire to share there. And that's the part I think sometimes we overlook, Well, that's not for me. But what if it is though? But what if it is though? You
Oh
know?
yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm coming into this thinking, okay, poetry, when prose, it's the reading of it, but that's not it. That's part of it.
Right.
And I think that I'm feeling enlightened. I'm feeling like you've enlightened me with really what this means to you and what it
I
should mean to
appreciate
others as well. Everyone will take from it what they want, but you've kind of cleared the mystery up for that. Even in this last one that you read, um, to me it was comical to hear you read it that way. And it's like this is exactly what people are probably thinking, but it's more fun than what they probably think. You know,
right. It
so
is because it's a shout out to myself. Like, some days when I'm struggling to understand what I'm doing,
yeah,
that's a perfect reminder. There are people here today because I chose to stay. That's amazing. And
yeah.
you really, if you put it right out there where you can see it, you don't get to miss that sign anymore. And for me, for the cockiness, for the confidence, it was a brilliant reminder that this.
All right, folks, that wraps up our episode for tonight. Want to tell everybody who's listening that we're going to take a couple weeks off. We really hope that you have a beautiful Thanksgiving holiday, making memories with your families and enjoying that time together. Coming up in December, we got some more coming right back at you from the roundtable. And we have December 3rd, Jack Blaze, who's a United States Army and Marine Corps vet, who's going to come on and share with us his music and his story. And then on the 10th, we have U.S. Army veteran Tim Megan Jr. going to join us and do exactly what we do here. We talk, we share, and we connect. So looking forward to having both them on the show. We will see you at the next episode of the Roundtable where Heroes Talk. I am Matt Jones. Good night.